Okay.
Hey, hello everyone. It's been a while since myself and Nancy came on the parenting forum. We've been away, we've been busy, we've been trying to better ourselves in other ways as
Mm-hmm.
parents and personally. So we are back. We are always parents. The work never ends. But today we are
Never.
going to try and dissect about kids association. I think Nancy was going to say something, so I will let her speak. Then we continue.
Yeah, you've said it all. It's been a while, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about being mindful with our kids association. Kids association. Well, Nancy, do you think kids need association? And if they
Well,
do,
yes,
why do
you
they
do.
need it?
Well, as you know, human beings, we are social animals. We are not made to be in isolation, Even when you want to kind of like punish somebody, you keep them in isolation and then they start to feel uncomfortable. So I think it's good for children to have peers that they can, play with, peers that they can have fun with, peers that they can learn from. Because as a teacher, I believe in peer learning. Sometimes it's easier for kids to understand concepts and things from their peers than they can from an adult explaining it to them, because the child can explain it in a playful, childlike manner for them to get it. So it's good for children to have associates, friends, and all of that. It's important. It's part of growing up. As a matter of fact, when your child is very small, especially for those of us who are living here, abroad, unlike in Ghana, where children are surrounded by lots of family members, here it's advisable to plan and organize play dates and things like that, so that kids can play with other kids their own age, because it gets boring always playing with mommy or always hanging around mommy. It gets boring. So I do think it's important for kids to have associates, friends, and what have you. It's important. It's good for their development as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. When you have a child, when one of the things that is distributed to you in Europe or is advised is for you to join play groups. The play groups is for your child from an early age to learn to associate with other kids, and it helps with their development. So that's very true. As Nancy has said, it's important to have kids association. So, Nancy, what do you think a parent should look out for when they are associating, they are helping their kids to associate with others? What are the things that they should be looking out for? I think Nancy is
I'm sorry,
frozen.
I didn't get that. My line is very bad. I think it's from
Okay.
my end.
What are the things that parents should be mindful of when they are thinking about associating with other parents? Let's start from the beginning, because
Mm-hmm.
if we are saying that you go to play groups and other things, I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
safe place, isn't it? It's a safe place because it's managed, it's monitored, some behaviors are not allowed, but
Exactly.
you tend to grow on, people grow on you and you grow on others, and some people want to be close to you. But as a parent, what should you be looking out for when that association starts brewing for you and your child?
Well, it's not easy. if I can be honest, because I have people probably watching me from everywhere, so we shouldn't say I cannot. I have some people that I don't bring my children around all kinds of people, you know. I can be very good friends with you, but like I'm not bringing because maybe the way when I'm with you, the things we just about and everything else, even if you have kids, and I am not somebody who speak on other people's parenting. I know people are very sensitive about how they parent their kids, and so I am not somebody who directly. I can give a comment like a suggestion. Oh, let's do it like this. I'm not somebody who speaks directly on people's comments. So if I find you interesting, because we have friends for different purposes. So the fact that the person is your friend and they also have kids around the same age as you does not mean you should bring your child around that person. I first look out for how you interact with your child. And if it is not in line with the way I feel like parenting my kids, we can be friends, but our kids are not going to be friends. And it's not because I'm looking down on your parenting style. It's something that you believe in, you understand? So for us to maintain the friendship, it would be much better for us to keep it like that, you know. I am very selective of the people that I bring my children around, you know, and the environment, because in as much as we want to be very open-minded and everything else, we should understand that human beings are not so unimportant. Every interaction rubs off us in some one way or the other, you know, whether consciously or unconsciously. Because I've had instances where when my kids were much younger, when they were like 3 or 4, where we would have maybe we'll just meet somebody in town and then it's unplanned and then we hang out together and we're like, oh, let's go to the park and go and play. And later on, you hear them use certain words that the other child used or something like that, you know. So based on those situations, 1 or 2 situations that I've seen, it has made me very selective. And I think every parent should. I'm very sure there's a parent who will probably see the way I handle my kids and be like, no, I don't want my kids to be like her kids. So I don't take any offense to that. It's everybody's right to raise their kids according to how they want it to be done, you know. Or what do you think?
I am a parent who is always on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Always seem to be preventing my child from doing something that will be frowned upon.
Okay.
So I'm waiting and yearning that someone's child will play with my child.
Okay.
And your child plays with my child, I really appreciate it. And for that reason, I become very understanding. I don't even think about what the fact that your child has approached my child and is willing to play with him makes me happy. And that comes with parents with kids on special needs, most of them. Because most of the time, our child are not even interested in playing with other kids. They are not. So if you go to play groups, they are happy with themselves. You are willing and just hoping that they will play with someone else. But yes, still, we are like you. I look to see, is this parents or this person safe? How is the child? How is he behaving? Like everything that you said, the same. But I am more the one hoping that my child will even attempt to play with somebody because he's happy on his own.
Right.
So I'm not judging, but there are some parents too who wouldn't want your child approaching them. So I do really look critically before my child approaches. So and my son is always like, if you approach me, I will play with you. He's not the one forcing. if you approach him, he will play, but he's not the one doing the initiation. So that also helps me in making judgments. So the difficult part will be if the parent is not willing, then you have to be strong to accept whatever is being thrown at you. So it's a very tricky one when it comes to most kids. Is on the spectrum, if they are hyperactive, they are, you enter a place and they are so engaging. Kids want to play with them because they are so active. But then parents become reserved and protected, thinking, because they don't understand. Most of the time, I give the room because I know most parents don't understand. So I'm always on the protective, defensive side of it.
Right. I can understand that because when I moved to Germany, my kids were 3 and 5, and I was like, oh my God, I hope that they find somebody to play with. I wanted them to have like friends. I am very lucky to have 2 kids who are just 2 years apart. So they kind of like play with each other, have very good social skills and things like that. So when it comes to the side of having friends, for us, it's a little bit too many. So I am blessed to be having the opportunity to rather be selective, like to tell them, because, but I can understand if a child has any kind of challenge, I can understand how that would be a bit of a stress for the parents. It will be stressful for you because not everybody understands what autism is and all of that. So I do understand how that can play a part in how you respond to friendships and stuff like that.
It plays a major part in that as well. So would you say that the best association for your kids are you've already mentioned that not all your friends, but does your associations have to have your beliefs, and do they have to be, does your kids association have to be only your friends or people that you approve and people who have your own belief and all that? Does it have to be paramount in selecting?
In an ideal world, I would have said yes. In an ideal world, that would have been my wish, that I would decide who they go with and who they come with and everything. But in the society in which we live, you cannot have what. So what we have here is you have to make the best of the situation. You would not be able to have only those who have the same beliefs and things like that. But there's one thing that I stand firm on is the values have to be similar. Whether the person is a Muslim, Christian, or whatever, the values have to be similar, like integrity, honesty, and believing in hard work. For me, the thing that is important, the most important ingredient in my home is somebody in school who believes in, getting an education. Because here, sometimes with children, they don't have that push, that drive, because they have not seen the hardships and the things that we saw when we were kids, So sometimes that drive is missing. And when, not to be like I'm discriminating towards anyone, when I see that a child comes from a home where parents are not really that serious about education, when it comes to employment, they're not really serious about whether they are employed or not and things like that. That value, when it's missing, that is the main thing that I look out for. Because even at work, I've come to know people from different religions who are very, very, who have more integrity sometimes than those I call Christians, I'm a Christian too. And I've experienced Muslims who have more integrity than a Christian person that I will be at work with. So for me, the belief is not important, but the values that they have must be similar. That is more important for me. And race is also not very important for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things also is the way they relate to each other, like how they speak to each other, the way they, the relation. You watch some family and you realize that, oh, these people have certain values, the way they speak, the way they talk about things. You just get to pick certain attributes that you say, okay, my child will be safe even if I turn my eye for a minute in this within the association. Why is it important, especially when you go to a party and you've been invited to a party and all that? The person who is holding the party, because you know the person has some values, when they invite you, you are happy to, because you know they are in control,
of course,
of the environment. Whereas some you wouldn't want to go because you are like, I don't like the way they do this. I wonder how their friends would be like, So it's also influences your decision in accepting certain invitations and all that. So it's
exactly
quite a broad thing to think about when you are thinking about your child's association. So how does a child's association, let's say your child goes to a place and have formed a special bond with some child you know nothing of, but they keep mentioning this child's name, they are so attached. How do you go about finding out about the family and telling your child whether I'm happy for you to associate with this person or not?
Well, first, I think, hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining. Please share the video. I have made some mistakes in the past where I did not like somebody and I just went straight and said, I don't like this person for you. And yeah, okay. Parenting is trial and error. So and then the next day I was going to pick my daughter from the school and the little girl just walked up to me and was like, I heard you said I'm not good. Why? Oh. And I was so embarrassed that my daughter just went to the school and told them, listen, my mom doesn't like you. She said we shouldn't be friends, And so, yeah. So I have learned to be a bit sneaky about it when I think my kids should not associate with somebody. I'm not straightforward. Unfortunately, I'm quite brutally honest. I try to be fair, and honest when I don't like. But when it comes to this, especially with my girls, I have to be a bit sneaky about it. And sometimes I'm not bold enough to just tell them, no, I don't want you to be with this person, especially when they were younger and not at the age where they could understand stuff. So when we are invited to play dates, I'll make up excuses and things like that. But now that they are, twins entering into teenage very soon, they'll be 11 going, they do understand what I am looking for and what they should look out for in friends. I ask them, how is this person's behavior in the classroom? How do they relate to the teacher? Are they respectful towards the teacher? How do they behave towards other kids? Are they the kind to bully? Is this person trying to be a leader and have you be a follower? We try to talk about these things, and we've been talking about these things since they were like 9. So I think now they understand more. But when they were younger, I did not have the courage because I did it once, like it just came out of my mouth. And then the next day I had a little girl looking at me in the eyes, asking me why I don't like it. And I didn't have the words for it. So now yeah, but now that they are a bit, after 10 years, children, you can talk to children more after the age of 10. You can explain things more to them, why this is good for you or that person is not good for you and those things like that. So that's what I try to do. We try to talk about it and we understand why this is not the kind of friend you want to have. Even if you tell me that, but I am not like that, I will let you know that by association, people will also perceive you, because if you have a friend, for instance, and your friend is the school bully, automatically they are associated to you. People will also think that you're a bully. You don't want others to have the wrong idea about you. So you don't associate with such a person, because whatever they do, it has an influence on, it has a mark on you somehow, because you're always seen with them. And if they do something, for instance, and you don't speak up, that means you agree with their behavior. So you have to be aware that, is it worth it keeping such a person around or not? I think if you start early, and you make a massive mistake like I did in the beginning, you kind of look for different ways to, talk to them in a better way, and then it works. I hope it's working, because so far it seems to be working here. So
yeah. With what you are saying, an example that my friend shared with me is her child's first day in secondary school, and she intentionally went. As we say, parents, you have to be intentional to know who. So let's say after 1 week, she decided to pick her child up from school to see who he's been associating with, because the first days at school, kids tend to pick up their friends from that day. So after the first, she decided the next week she was picking her son from school the whole of the week to see who he's being attracted to, or vice versa. And this boy comes and he's like, you see my watch? You see this? And the boy was doing this, and she was watching her. So they were having a walk, and she walked with her, listened to him and her son's conversation for a while. As soon as they got home, she was like, I don't want to see you with that boy. If you are choosing friends, he's not a person you should be choosing. And says, Mom, why? He's been nice to me, been this, he's been that. And he said, no, he's not. The way he kept showing at her age, he shouldn't be so keen about these
involvement,
things, and all that. How is he buying, like getting these expensive stuff and talking and being prideful about it? So the boy wasn't happy. I said, okay, yes, Mom. 1 month down the line, the boy lied on him, and he was reported in school to have hit his mom, and all that. So the son comes back home and said, Mom, you were right about that boy, this and this is what we've heard. And so she capitalized on that and said, look, it's because I saw these things. That's why I said that and that. That's why you need to be cautious about your friendships. So sometimes, to help you be mindful, it's being also intentional about getting to know who they are dealing with.
Exactly.
Exactly. In abroad, you invite play dates. You invite the family, you do all these things just to observe. That is when you have an open mind. Because say again?
I said you're definitely right. You're right, because for me, one of my sneaky ways is we are all September borns here. So when we have birthdays in September, I always invite people over, and I just leave them in the garden, and I listen to their conversations a lot. And when they are done, I kind of spy on my kids too sometimes. I do, and I listen, and I tell them, this girl, I don't know about this girl, or that girl, this, And what I have seen is, like a year or two ago, what I noticed was there was one girl, and the conversations that she was having with my daughter was too advanced for me. above what a child should be talking about. And she was busy talking about the fact that somebody's mom is divorced, and now the other mom always every week has a different boyfriend. And I, hey, no, stop this conversation, you know. This is not your business. First of all, you have to stay in a child's place and things like that. I do. I I I mean, here at home, I mean, even my children, whatever conversations they have on their phones, I do look at them. I'm not proud to say that, but I do. We use the same iCloud. Every picture you send my child on WhatsApp is on my phone too. I can see it, everything.
Until they are 18.
Yeah. Or if you can go for your own phone contract, then go ahead. But as long as I'm paying the bill, I'm going to see what's on the phone.
Yeah.
Even when you delete it, it's still on the iCloud, so I will still see it. So
yeah. So yeah, it's interesting
because you can't give chance, you know. Here, the vices abroad is there's too many vices here, especially in this age of social media and everything. And if you slip, if you take your eye off the ball for 1 minute, you know, you would end up having to solve a big problem later on. So I would rather err on the side of caution than, you know, be this
cautious.
This gentle parenting. I'm trying. I wish I could be. I really admire people who have this thing under control, but I still do keep my eye on them. I am somewhere between. I am a helicopter parent trying to be this gentle parent type of person, but
who says a gentle parent is not a helicopter? The only thing that makes you a gentle parent is your approach is not fierce and all over the place. You are calculated.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think that being a gentle parent means that you are going to be always quiet and be not. No, you are always the helicopters looking at things, but you approach them in a so calculated. Right. You've already researched. You know you have a target of what you want to hit, and you don't hit and miss. So
that's it.
You are calculated, and I think it's healthy because you are not coming in gun blazing and, you know, to turn the child.
You have to find sneaky ways to sneaky, gentle, other means to try to get your point across to the children, because at the same time, when you are too strict, you tend to, you know, spoil the relationship or damage the relationship between you and the children. So you have to find this very nice middle, you know, between being very relaxed and being very strict about it. Because at the end of the day, every day they are growing, you know. And if you don't have these bases there about, and if you don't instill in them what to look out for when it comes to friendships and things like that, you know, here, once kids are like 14, 15, they can take the bus and go somewhere by themselves and things like that. You know, they will start hanging out with different types of people. But if you lay the foundation right, then you know for sure that, you know, even if they're hanging out at the mall, they're not with kids who are going to tell them just for the thrill of it, go steal something from this shop, or, you know, all of that, you know, because we have kids doing that here where it's not because their parents cannot afford items, you know, one would dare the other one to do stuff and crazy stuff, you know. You have to just make sure that once they are out of the house with, you know, and about in public without you, they still make the right choices.
Yeah. So my next question is, you know, as a parent, what behaviors should you yourself be showing or emulating to your kids so that they also are aware of the reason why you are restricting them of their association? what are the things that as a parent you should be aware of that you are not showing your kids, and then also not telling them to do a different thing?
Yeah, a few years ago, I had this realization. It just came to me one day that I am a fraud if I ask my kids not to do something and I do it myself. Like that is wrong. For example, if I ask my kids, if I tell them, we have a term here in my house, we say, don't do follow, follow. So if I tell my kids not to do follow, follow, and my kids see myself that I am not assertive, I am very passive, I'm easily influenced by friends, and I'm controlled by friends. I am this people pleaser who is always trying to, get people to like me. How then do I come back and tell them to be assertive, to have self-esteem, to do all of these things? I felt like I'm a fraud in that sense. So the first thing I had to do was I had to work on myself, you know. I had to work on myself and learn how to set boundaries with people. I had to learn how to be honest, because you can't expect honesty from your kids when you yourself, you are not honest. And I had to also create a space whereby if they felt pressured by friends, they have to know that you can always come to mommy and we can always talk about it. Because I feel like if you don't keep that door open for kids, if you don't do those things and set those things in play, you can teach your kids so many things, but if they don't see you doing it yourself, believe you me, the kids learn more by watching you than than what you tell them. So I try to live in my truth. I try to be what I want them to be. And if I mess up, I am able to like come to them and be like, you know what, I nearly did this, but this, and I tell them, let them see that I'm also human, so that they are not also too hard on themselves. And we talk about friendship a lot here in our house. We talk about all kinds of behaviors that they should watch out for. I feel like it's a continuous improvement on my side and a continuous learning on their side. There's not like you just wave a wand and then it works. You have to constantly be in dialogue and be talking about it, and they are going to come to you with different scenarios and things like that about difficulties that they are going through with. And like, I have girls at home, we are always solving one problem or the other, because this friend did this today at the playground and that person did this and this said that and this said that. So I'm always like the judge and everything, mitigating all the time. So I have to listen to all of these things, and they have to see me also know that, okay, mommy, if she's in conflict with a friend, she knows how to resolve this conflict. You have to let them see you also, not always perfect. Of course, it's good for them to have something to copy, but you have to also let them know that sometimes human beings mess up, and when we mess up, this is how we go about it. For example, if you have a situation where you have to apologize, you have to let your kids know that it's okay to apologize, so they know that when they mess up too, they can also apologize and things like that. I try to live in my truth, because you are a fraud if you tell your girls, don't do follow, and you yourself, you're easily influenced by a friend. Kids, they can see, they are more intelligent than we give them credit for. They can see that you're not strong. They know, they can tell how you behave around this friend is different from how you behave around that friend.
Yeah.
So you have to be authentic. If you're authentic, it's easy for you to tell other people and guide them. Oh,
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah. I wish I had that luxury. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. But most of the time I go to play groups, and most of it is for most special needs kids, right? And it's like we, the parents, are busily ensuring that our child doesn't, cause another person's child anything that will create conflict. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I am happy to say that I have taught my child not to be aggressive, to be
That's good.
calm around people. He will play with you. He wouldn't initiate if you come. He will play with you. If he likes it, he will just walk away. He is so cool and collected. Okay, so for me, I'm the person worrying that he's like that. But if you hit him, he will hit you back. So
It's a natural
I
response.
yeah, he would. So I'm like, I don't want to create that scenario and whatever. But he watches me. He sees that I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I'm happy in my environment. So he is also like that. But my worry is he needs association. I try to push him to engage and all that, and he's not having it. So I
Mm-hmm.
force to go to places. He enjoys going there, but the association aspect, he doesn't want to know. So it saves time. It's rather me and the parents more
Mm-hmm.
often being more. But recently, like last week, I went to a grocery shop and there's a playground there. There are restaurants. It's like an eatery area. And some
Mm-hmm.
kids saw they were playing football and they saw him and they gave him a pass. So I stopped and I said, I'm sorry, he's autistic. He might not understand what you guys are doing here. So you would have to give him some room to pick up what you're doing. He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't easily. So they said, oh, that's okay. That's okay. And then they still wanted to engage with him. And he took the ball. And for him, he doesn't like the kicking and he will chase you, but he's very athletic in throwing, jumping.
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped and they were excited by what he was able to do. And they were like, you know, and they were still willing to engage with him and play with him. And I was speaking whilst I was shopping, I was speaking to see if he's not taking over the game and made them
Mm-hmm.
redundant, in their own
Mm-hmm.
game. So, but the kids always understand. I'm surprised that they did understand and they were willing to play with him. And with that, the parents have nothing to say because the kids have chosen to play. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's good to have an open mind. Okay, but at the same time, whilst you have an open mind, you don't take your eyes off. You don't know what will happen the next minute. So it's like you don't have the disadvantage is you don't get to relax. You are
Mm-hmm.
always on the go and watching these things, and it's quite tricky to. And as you said, it's the same for parents on the spectrum. You would have to even be intentional and physically teach the child that this is why I'm doing this, and you do it purposefully and ensure that they are picking it up. You would think they
Mm-hmm.
are not, but they do pick it up. When you go out, is when you see it. You won't see it at home. You will see it when
Yeah.
you environment, and you will see whatever you are teaching them exhibiting themselves out there. So yeah, don't ignore. Don't think your child is on the spectrum or has this, so they don't need those. They are learning. They also do learn. They are very observant, and they are even more sensitive to pick up things that you would not realize.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Right. So do
the
you find him bouncing his energy off your energy when you are like anxious or stressed? Does he feel it like, does it make him also stressed as well?
yeah. It's I have to be always in control of the environment. He's confident to walk in a shop. Most people don't kids don't want to go in a shop because of stuff, but because of the exposure I've given him, he's confident to walk. If he wants to go in a shop, he will go there. If he doesn't like the way it looks, he will come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have to say, okay, you don't like this place, and he will say, I don't like it, and then we will go. Restaurants, he doesn't like it. He enters the place, he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. But if he
Mm-hmm.
wants to stay, he will take a seat and then feel relaxed and everything. So if kids approach him the same way, If he's interested, he will start sharing. If he's not, he will walk away. And I have to apologize to the parents,
Of
And I
course.
explained, you will have to, I explained to the child, because in this case, it's the child who is doing the approaching. So you parents eye contact, and I explained to the child, he might not understand what you're saying, but you can go ahead and play with him if you want to. And then the kids get intrigued and they want to understand. So they stay for a while. And funny enough, they click. Kids always do
Find a way
to yeah. And then he's happy to be with a person. And for him, out of sight, out of mind, and that's it. The follow-up thing is not there for me. I would have to investigate to maybe do it. You see. So, yeah. So that's the tricky part. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, so at what age do you think parents should stop meeting their child's friends' parents? Like,
at what age?
Yeah, at what age should you stop meeting the parents of your child's friend?
Oh, I think until they leave your house. The fact that you are bringing, because they're going to bring your friends into your house, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. Especially
so,
like when they are in like secondary school, let's say they are in class in year 10, it's very difficult at that age to keep meeting your children's the parents of their friends, especially when they stop going to schools in your in your catchment area. Like they're going to schools a bit further off, and children who come to the school are also from all over. It becomes a bit tiring or almost impossible, because then you can't organize play dates any longer. They are meeting in the school. After school, they are taking the bus and this and that. It becomes a bit tricky.
It doesn't have to be play dates. It have to be adult dates. Nothing stops you from, sometimes you do a video call. Oh, your friend, I haven't met their parents, How are they? Just say, mom says hi. By the time they get to that, your kids have been selective, I think. And these are people that they are very close with at that. So that kind of, they become part of you as a family, I think.
Yeah.
So asking for a dinner, in Europe is different.
That is one way.
Yeah, asking for dinner. Oh, can we go to a movie? I've seen this. I've bought tickets. Can we go and watch it? There's an opera going. So you get to find out what they like. You spend the money to buy the tickets to do that and engage, that raises your standard as a parent with your expectations as well as your personality in people as well. So it doesn't have to be always you, them approaching, but you also do part. And then if they don't, they also get to realize that you are from a different mindset, and you are into proper friendship, not I see you are. They understand it as you being vested in your child's welfare.
Yeah.
Because they are the people who even initiate sleepovers and all these things.
Right. And to do that, you have to meet the parents, you have to know them.
You have to know them for allowing them to go and have a sleepover. Don't know their background. These things, it's important to consider them before you allow sleepovers and all these things.
Of course.
Because I remember the lady who went to a friend's house, and the pet of the friend's sister is a snake.
Hey.
And the snake is just around the house doing this and that and that. And then she went there and she just sat on the sofa without realizing, not knowing. She fainted. They had to call.
I would die. If it's me, I would die.
So just to just understand the background of the family and everything, these are things that you need to know.
If it's me, you have to call ambulance for me. Hey.
Yeah. So
Sense.
we take it for granted, but these are
Yeah,
little,
we do. No, it's
especially
all of that is important, And
yeah.
also the other thing I wanted to add was it's um to let your kids know it's more about having quality 1 or 2 friends, but it has to be, it's not about being the most popular girl or kid in the school with 10,000 friends, which are all very surface type of friendship. It's nothing deep. You have to let them know that choosing friendships are something that you have to do with with care.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing that we used to have in kindergarten. Everybody was best friend. After 2 days of playing together, that's my best friend, And then 2 months later, I don't like her. She's no longer my friend. I was like, okay, then we don't throw the word best friend around just like that, You have to be careful who you give that title to, Don't just give it to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, so much has changed, and it's a challenge for current parents because of Facebook following and internet and all that. Kids are also drawn to the number of friends that I have instead of the quality of friendship, and so parents will have to sample their friendship, explaining the quality of friendship that is important for you to have so that the kids understand it. So they go on jumping onto associating with everybody. And then also teaching the kids what an association can cost you in your life. I remember Amma Manson did a video on G-Man about,
I remember that video.
Association and teaching the kids these things when they get to the teenage years, making them have an open view and understanding about what associations can cost you in life.
Right.
So consider that as well. But having said that, one thing that we haven't discussed is we are talking from pointing fingers that someone else's child might be this, might be that, but our own as a parent. What are the attributes or behaviors must you ensure that your child portrays or as samples that they will not be the child that someone refuses to associate themselves with?
It's quite tough to always look into the mirror and look at yourself and find mistakes. Like I said in the beginning, I find it really hard to speak on other people's parenting because everybody believes they are doing the right thing for them, and they think that their child is the best. As a parent, one of the things that I do is you have to have that courage to do this self-assessment and to know if your child has a behavior that is not good. You have to. For instance, my eldest daughter, she had some negative things that she is the kind of person when she's friends with somebody, she doesn't want anybody else to be that person's friend. And then she will try to tell you, don't be friends with this person, And it's happened a couple of times. I believe I saw that as borderline, like a bully behavior, like you don't have to tell people. And she was like, yeah, but when she has friends, when other people come in, then the friendship is, becomes destroyed. And then it's too many people. And I was like, if the person is really your friend, then it shouldn't matter who comes in. They are going to still be friends with you. And I let her know the dangers of leaving people out, how that feels for other people, or influencing people to leave somebody else out or to ostracize somebody. And we had to talk about it and let her know how that can be seen as bullying behavior, because sometimes we always think bullying is just hitting and, But if you tell other people, yeah, I don't want you to be friends with this girl, if you're going to be friends with me, that is in a way a kind of bullying behavior. You have to allow people. It's like you're putting somebody under pressure, giving them ultimatums and things like that. You have to let people feel free to associate with who they want to associate with and things like that. And I told her, yes, she's going to now be your friend, but this pressure, if she tells her mom or anybody else, like Julia said, I can't be friends with somebody if I'm friends, of course they're going to see it as, what kind of a girl is that? Why does she want to dictate to you who you should be friends with? But when I spoke to her, she was like, her problem is in the past when she's been friends with someone, another person comes in and then it always falls apart. So even though she was trying to, kind of like protect the friendship, I allowed her to, or I pointed out to her, this is it. Imagine if it's you and you come into a new school or something and everybody has a friend already, right? Of course, you still have to somehow fit into a friend group somehow.
Yeah.
So you have to also consider it from that angle, see it from that side. You understand?
Yeah.
You will one day, you will not always, you are lucky to have your friendship group that is not broken, but you're not always going to be here. You can go to uni in a different city, a different town, a different country. And the people there, they also have friends already, but you have to somehow find a way to come in there because you don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
So it's important. And sometimes you have to just talk to your kids. Kids, they don't always mean, or they don't always know the harm of some things that they do, So you have to let them know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very typical example of insecurity in association. So, like, she feels like I have to secure my territory. I don't want anybody coming in here. But if somebody doesn't find you important enough and are willing to jump bus because they don't see your value.
Exactly. And it was going to be now or later, it's going to happen anyway,
Yeah. So then they have to look at, they ask the right thing that you do. Look within yourself. Are you matching up are you the person that you are supposed to be for someone to like you? And if you think you are comfortable in yourself, then you don't need to go overboard to please anyone or to force someone to stay within your lane, and so it's tricky. And every stage in life, another thing that kids have to be aware of, it's not because friends come and go. At every stage that you get to, there are things that you learn, there are things that attract people to you, and there are things that also make people want to move away. It's mostly not your fault, but it's because of the process and your development as well. So
Right.
if we are being right as adults, there were ways that you thought as a child and the friends that you kept. That's now, when you sit with those people, you don't even know what to say to them because their thinking and everything does not actually come into place with yours. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's like you've moved on in a way, and they might also have moved on in a different direction, and you no longer gel like you used to gel before. So if there's a separation, it's not because of anything that you've done, but probably because of changes that have happened for you both. So yeah. And for the benefit of parents who have younger kids who are thinking, so if I go out or if I go for play dates, what are the behaviors that my children shouldn't be showing when they associate with others? With younger kids, they say biting, spitting, hitting, screaming or yelling back, and throwing tantrums. Those are the behaviors. And then for older adults, it's stealing, destroying property, lying, cursing, being disrespectful towards teachers, parents, or any adult, and then cheating in school. So those are the basic ones that, you know, it's not going to be direct, but it's going to be, if a child is talking about, oh, I got this from here, I stole it, I took it, or they found something and they don't return it and they keep it, how would one think of that? That is stealing, because you have to turn it into the right people for it to be returned to the rightful person. So, you know, these are things that they look at in different ways, but in conclusion, that's what it's talking about. When they are asked questions about something and they are not telling the actual truth about what happened, and they go beating about the bush, that's a behavior that any parent will look out for. No, I don't want my child associating themselves with this particular person. So it's a broad, I don't know if people are watching us, if they have any questions, they could put it on here. Nancy, are you seeing any questions on your side?
I didn't get the last part.
Are you seeing any question on your side? I don't know if there are any questions that people have put up there. Do you have any questions on your side?
For my side?
Yeah. I mean, on the screen, I don't know whether anybody is watching us. And I don't know.
From my side, I can't see, but I don't know. There was one person came in, and I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if there are any questions in the chat. Let me see the comments. There was Tanya. Tanya said, "Hello, ladies. It's great. It's a great topic, a great discussion." Yeah. So I guess it's time for us to sign off, right?
What do you have to conclude with this?
For me, I would like to say that it's, as parents, we can't take our eyes off our kids. Even if they are teenagers or in their early 20s, we can still comment about the people that they associate with, because no matter what, whoever you come into contact with has some type of influence on you. You cannot say, oh, you will work with a person. You have to let kids be aware that you can't say you work with a person and you will not copy one thing or two from them. So you have to be very mindful of the people that you work with. We have to instill that into our kids, that the person that you has a huge influence, huge impact on your mindset, huge impact on your behavior, huge impact on so many things that you do, you know. And wrongful association can derail your path in life. We have to make them aware of that. Once you instill that in them, then of course they are the one, once they know that, they will make the right decisions, you know, whether they are conscious or not. Once that is in their head, every time they are dealing with people, they will know whether this person is going to be good for them or not. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that parents do, I don't know, it's mostly African parents. Instead of them being direct, not indirect of the friend in the presence of the other kid, but indirect as in, this is the reason why I don't want you doing this. I see this and that and that. They are very, very proverbial. Is that the right word to use?
They try to
In parables.
speak in parables.
And you don't understand. You're like, what are you on about? I've had that experience with my mom. She told me, when you are creating association, create associations with people that would vouch for you. They will stick their neck out for you. And I was like, what's she on about? I thought she was blabbing. But years later, I wish she was alive for me to ask her, what did you see for you to tell me that?
That.
Because when something happened, the person I was hoping to vouch for me didn't.
Did not vouch for you.
And that's the comment she made about this person. And immediately my mind went back to what she said. So I was wondering, what did she see that made her say that to me?
She must have seen something.
And, you know, it took years for me to see this, like for what I said to manifest itself. So parents, there's a saying in African dialect, what a parent sees sitting down,
As a child,
you will never see it.
even if you are standing on the highest thing, you can't see it. You can't see as far as that because they have experience on their side.
On their side. So as parents, can we please make it a duty to ensure that no, it doesn't matter. You are not, regardless, make sure you spell it out and explain it to the child. Make sure they understand where you are coming from and give them examples. For me, when it happened, I remembered, even though it was years, in the same way, if you advise it, they will keep it in their head if you give them the right explanation and tell them why. For my friend's child example that I gave, the child learned immediately. Within a month, she saw what her mom was trying to say to her. Luckily, she explained in detail. I said, this is what I see. So I don't think friendship is the kind of friendship you should have with this child. So I don't know what you say about this African way of. It's not. I don't know. It's not being.
Well, for me, I think you have to find the right balance between direct and this parable thing. I have tried a direct approach and it kind of bounced in my face because it was the right approach but the wrong age.
No, not to the other child, but to your child.
Yeah, to my own child. She was a bit too young for me to have told her straight away. You know, she was still 5 years or so. So it was the right approach, but the wrong age. But I think when you have kids who are like, I would say from 16 onwards, you should be able to talk to a child, you know, in a very, respect their intelligence and talk to them in a very direct manner and let them know that, but below 16, maybe you have to find some ways, you know, below 16 would be more, for me, it's more the age of instilling the values in them, letting them know how to choose friends and what's good or what's bad and all of that. Once you've shown them that, and then you give them the chance to go about doing the selections, when they make the wrong selection, you should be able to tell them, no, throw that ball back in. It's the wrong one for you and try selecting again, you know. I think from 16 going, you should be able to talk directly with your, because they are intelligent enough to understand what you're saying. And once you tell them, they will look out for those signs and they can see it. You understand? From that age onwards, you should be very direct with your children because things from 16 going, things go really, really fast, especially here abroad, you know.
Yeah.
They can end up in jail if you play around speaking in parables. They can, this things can go really bad, really quick.
Yeah.
So from that age, it's not, you don't have the luxury of doing this parable thing and being the wise person and speaking and beating around the bush. From then on, you should be very, very straight forward, you know.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for coming. We hope to see you next week as well.
Hopefully, I'll be here next week as well. I've had lots of fun, and it's great to be back. I took a short break, but it's great to be back.
Welcome back, and thank you everyone for watching. We will be grateful if you could share this video for others to learn a little bit. We've learned a bit from each other today. We've learned a lot, I think, from each other and
We have.
And there's always, remember, parenting is learning. The learning never stops. It's continuous. So be open-minded, try some of the stuff that we discuss, and give us feedback if you find it necessary to do that. Thank you all for watching us. Nancy?
Bye.
Bye, everyone.